This video is for you if you rest but never actually feel rested. If you're always tired and exhausted but don't really know why. What's exhausting you might not be stress. It might be the constant stimulation you've just learned to live with. We live in a world that treats stimulation literally like oxygen. More input, more noise, more scrolling, more thinking. But peace doesn't really come from adding something new into your life. It really comes from removing what's unnecessary. And in this video today, I want to share 3 forms of stimulation most people never question, but quietly drains their energy every single day. The first one I want to talk about is social media. This is probably the biggest one, and where most people can relate. They're looking at social media too much, and it's really exhausting because it just never ends. The nervous system doesn't know how to rest when it's always open, when it's always available, always receiving this constant input from your phone or computer. You know, even inspiring content can be this way too. It can overstimulate you if there's no space left to integrate what you're actually learning. Studies consistently show that frequent social media use is linked to higher levels of anxiety, mental fatigue, and poor sleep. Your brain processes every scroll as novel input, which activates your dopamine and it keeps your nervous system in a seeking state. Even passive scrolling keeps the brain in a low level alertness, and you're not really giving your brain and your body rest. And research shows that the average person checks their phone literally over 90 times a day, often without even realizing it. That is a lot of time to be looking at your phone and checking it. And your nervous system doesn't distinguish between important input and constant input, meaning stimulation is stimulation. This is why even when you watch things that are uplifting and positive, this content too can also leave you tired. The system never gets a full exhale. It never gets rest. So whether it just be funny content or inspiring content or negative, whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter. Stimulation is stimulation, and overuse of these things is not good. The second one I want to talk about is background noise. Many people say I need noise to relax, but what they often mean is I don't want to be alone with my inner experience. And some examples are the TV always being on, the podcast being listened to while you do everything, music filling every silence, just noise used to avoid really with how you're feeling. And silence isn't empty, it's just unfamiliar. If quiet feels uncomfortable, that doesn't mean something's wrong. It means that something's trying to surface. Continuous background noise increases cognitive load, which even when you tune out, your nervous system is still activated. The brain still processes sound below conscious awareness, and this often leads to faster mental fatigue, reduced emotional regulation, and less capacity for just being still. Research shows that constant background noise can increase stress hormones, even when people say it doesn't bother them. And many people may say well, I'm used to this, it doesn't really bother me or anything, but the body is still listening. And that's what's important to understand. Just because something feels normal doesn't mean it's nourishing. Background noise is still kind of, the constant music in the headphones, the constant podcast listening to, the TV always being on. This stuff is still stimulating, and it's still stimulating your nervous system. And we want to allow ourselves to just experience some stillness and peace and quiet. And the third one I want to talk about, possibly the deepest one here, when it comes to stimulation, is internal mental stimulation. This is the one almost no one notices. The constant rehearsing of conversations that you've had or going to have in your life, narrating your life internally, monitoring yourself, anticipating what's coming next. Even when everything is quiet on the outside, the mind keeps pressing play. pause. Peace doesn't come from stopping your thoughts. You're going to have thoughts, you're going to have emotions and feelings. It just comes from like no longer really paying so close attention to what the mind is saying at any given moment. Studies on mind wandering show that people spend up to 47% of their waking life thinking about something other than what they're actually doing in the present moment. This level of internal narration is associated with lower happiness, higher stress, mental exhaustion. Nearly half of our waking life is spent in mental noise, rehearsing, predicting, narrating. The mind uses enormous energy maintaining a sense of control even when nothing is actually happening. You could just be sitting in your living room and just completely thinking about something that is not even in your present experience. And most people live their life like that, either the past or the future. So most people don't need more rest. They need to let go more of this internal dialogue and connect more with the present moment. What's interesting is that modern research is now confirming that spiritual traditions have really discovered these truths and have pointed to these things for centuries. The mind gets tired not from life, but from constant inner and outer noise. So for me, I have recently just completely eliminated social media. I have tried to do this in the past and I have failed. I would go a couple days maybe without, going on TikTok or YouTube shorts and things like that. And I would always just end up coming back to it because I felt bored. I felt like I needed stimulation, or I was trying to not feel something or whatever and just trying to distract myself. And I had periods where I would do really well with this, and then I would end up going back to social media and just constantly scrolling, constantly looking at things because I was bored or I just wanted entertainment or whatever. When I wouldn't do these things, when I would say no, even if it was just for a day, I would always notice by the evening when I was going to bed, it just felt like my mind was way more relaxed and way more calm. I felt mentally stronger. I felt more present and just more relaxed. It was like, I had a noticeable difference, like physically and mentally and emotionally. I could immediately tell, this is way different than what I would normally feel. And when I would be scrolling on TikTok or YouTube shorts or on YouTube or on Facebook and constantly looking at stuff, I would always feel like my mind felt like it just like pressure. Like there was like stuff, it felt like I felt cloudy and foggy and heavy and more stressed, more anxious, more overthinking. It just felt terrible compared to how I would feel when I wouldn't watch social media. We all can relate to this. We all know that if you've done this, you've stopped social media, you've obviously have felt better. But why do we keep coming back to it? And I want to help you just kind of detach from social media. And a lot of it just comes from understanding too. And the biggest thing is that, do you want more suffering in your life? That's what it really comes down to. Do you want to feel worse by the end of the day, or do you want to feel better? And for me, I just got sick of feeling terrible. I just got tired of feeling exhausted, of feeling more stressed than I need to feel. Like, I don't need to feel this way. I'm sick of it. And when you get sick of something and when you're just tired and like, I've just had enough, that's usually the breaking point where you make a change. You kind of need to get to that point. And that's how it worked for me. Now, I've also introduced other things too into my daily routine where I invite moments of boredom. And that's kind of how I phrase it. Like, I invite boredom now because the mind labels it as bored or as boring. And for me, I just have a cup of tea, or like usually when I would have some time, like a half an hour to kill, instead of going on my phone, I'm now drinking a tea. Or if I'm not drinking tea and just sitting and being present to the moment, I'll read a book. And usually I read at night before I go to bed now, which has been super cool. Like a productive thing. It's allowing myself not to go on my phone, and I'm learning. And it's cool to be like acquiring knowledge and wisdom, and to be reading. It just helps kind of relax you. And it helps get your eyes off of the blue light on your screen and the constant scrolling. It just, obviously none of that's good. But like introducing a book, introducing a new habit into your daily life is going to be really helpful. And those are the things I've just done. Now, the background noise too, one of the things I've noticed is that when I go to the gym and work out and I exercise, I always feel better when I leave the gym if I didn't have my headphones in, blaring music the whole time I'm working out. Instead, I don't listen to any music. And again, for people that work out, that's probably going to sound really boring and not appealing. But I just noticed that I felt more relaxed. I felt more at ease when I left the gym. I felt better, like more rejuvenated or more just kind of relaxed in some ways. And when I would listen to music, it was like I would leave the gym like still like feeling stimulated. Like I don't feel relaxed. I feel good that I worked out, but I don't feel like relaxed within myself. That constant background music, and also too, the being on your phone, like having your phone when you're in the gym, is also distracting. You could be getting text messages coming in, notifications. You're probably checking your email and Facebook. You might even be on TikTok while you're in the gym, you know? So I keep my phone in my locker now, and I don't listen to music. And another thing too is that when you're always flipping through music, or you're trying to get the best song for this particular lift or whatever, you're just draining your dopamine system as well by trying to get that high of that song, and that's also not great. So for me, it was really working out, and I'm going to try other things too, like when I meal prep and I cook on Sundays and I do all of that sort of thing, I'm also going to try not listening to music and just doing it quietly and being present with what I'm doing. And this is so good for regulating your nervous system and for just allowing yourself to give yourself a break, you know, because we need that. And the next one, for my thing that I'm doing with this internal noise, this internal dialogue, is that I'm practicing presence, which I teach about on my channel. And that's really just coming into the body. When I have my tea, when I'm sitting in my living room, I'm just putting my awareness within my hands, within my feet, within my body, and I'm just allowing myself to be present. And when I just allow myself to feel the inner body, it takes the mind away from past and future, from this internal dialogue, from thinking about the conversations you had or you're going to have, or from the work you need to do yet, or why did I do this yesterday, and regret and dwelling and whatever, and just putting yourself within, noticing the inner body, the aliveness in the hands and the feet, and what I've talked about on my channel is very meditative. Yesterday, I practiced that, and I just became so relaxed and so calm. I could have just fell asleep in the middle of the afternoon. I was like, I could have literally just passed out. And it was really relaxing. It was really nice. And I wasn't even thinking about anything. I wasn't scrolling on my phone, which I normally would be doing. I was just totally present, totally in a moment, and it was really nice. So this is how I've been doing it. And for me, again, I've completely cut out social media. I am no longer even engaging any of it. You may need to take steps, and I took steps too in a certain way. Like I've tried and failed, but like, for me, it just finally clicked. Like, it's like, okay, this is clearly not good for me. This is clearly ruining my life in some ways, because I could be way more productive. I could be getting more stuff done. I could be learning more. I could just feel more at peace in my everyday life. And at the end of the day, I could feel much better than I normally would if I was just constantly on my phone on social media. One of the things with social media, again, too, it's like, I'm just way more productive. Like, I have more energy. I have stronger focus. I can just pay attention better. I can listen better. It's like everything's better. Just letting go of it. So it's like, why am I not doing this? And I would notice these things before, but again, for me, I just came to like a breaking point. It's like, enough is enough. I'm done. And I'm going to really adopt this new lifestyle and just do this because I feel much better, and you can too. When stimulation drops, something surprising does happen. You become available to life. available to clarity, available to your intuition, available to peace, that isn't dependent on circumstances. It just naturally arises and it's naturally now available to you. It really is. It's huge. This thing is huge. Letting go of these things and understanding this, it will be a massive shift in a positive direction for your life. So for right now, you may not need a new method to do things. You may not need to add something to your life. You just might need fewer inputs, less distractions, so you can really tap into that inner peace that's within and just allow your nervous system to just take a break, to relax. So in your life right now, I want you just to actively take note on where stimulation is in your life and where presence can replace that. Peace isn't something that you kind of chase after. It's really something that appears when the noise quiets down. So I hope this video is helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.